coffee is brewing. I have a plan for the day. We are going to continue working with finished carpentry, which is my favorite, my specialty. The cubbies that hold all the books, boom, right there and right there. Basically, it's a mirror image of this. The white laminate, what am I finger? The white laminate that's behind the book section is cracking. It's cracked over the years. It just aged. So now that I have a little bit of downtime waiting for parts for electrical, I can attend to some of the things that I always had on the list as a afterthought, but that afterthought time is now. So I've taken everything out. Let me flip this around. The little joys in life. Yesterday I went to Guaymas and I bought a sheet of laminate, white laminate, so it's going to be just the same as it is here. And I'll work on this cubby, on the starboard, on the port side cubby, if I get to it later on today. And whatever I have left off, I think I'm going to put it into the galley. So I'm going to replace the countertops in the galley. That's going to be really nice. I've taken everything out yesterday. The shelf, the backer boards, the light, and the little ceiling. Also what I've done is finally this fan that never worked because whoever had the boat before me disconnected it and cut the wires. I ran the new wire behind the bulkhead along this chaseway. These are the chain plates, which eventually I'm going to replace. I'm actually going to put them on the outside of the boat. So I'm going to flip these around. That's a whole different project by itself. Ran the wire on a 5-amp fuse for the fan. On a nice little terminal block right there. These two wires are going to be for the light that's going to be wired in the ceiling. And this is what they look like. This is the actual ceiling. This is where the light was attached, but it's all cracked and damaged. And there it is, my friends. Boom. Well, project continue. Today is Monday, January 15th. Yep. And a little gloomy, a little rainy. So I'm going to try to do a couple of projects that were on my list, down the list. Not really a priority, but since it's not a weather to be working outside too much, I'm going to spend it under the Bimini. That right there is an old autopilot, which was installed somewhere in Africa when the boat was making its journey around the world. That's been yanked out. That's just a controller that's still left over. I have a nice new B&G unit that I installed before the trip to Mexico, and opposite of that, that is my starting panel. So that trim around it, it's seen better days. It's weathered, it's cracking. So I'm going to remove it and fabricate a nice new piece. Where's my finger? Around there. I have enough teak left that I can make a new one and make it look real good. The way this worked was pretty simple. There was no it has a compass down below, which I already took out, but basically what that did, you had to point the boat in the direction you wanted to go, right? There was no chart plotter where you just set the direction or anything like that, like I have now. But you would point the boat in the direction you wanted to go. Then first I had to select it to helm because you would control it from here. There was another box down below where you could do it from, I don't know, if it's stormy outside, you can control everything from down below. This was just a remote. Put it to helm, and then where you wanted to go, then you would, this was a little switch that just broke off, and you would just go up, course set, wait for a couple of seconds, let go, and the boat keep that course. Then you could trim it, starboard and port, how you liked it. That was it. That was it. It would just stay on that course. There was no deviation from it. You can change down in the unit below. You could set it to the state of the sea, so how much yaw you would actually have allowed, if the seas were rough or if they were calm. So you could do that. But that was it. That was back in, I would bet this is probably mid-80s. Yeah, old school. The almost finished product. Frame for the starter panel. I'm going to use the epoxy with the 207 hardener. It dries clear and gives it a super shiny, clear, protective coating. Super excited. I just need to find some plexiglass to slide into these grooves to protect it from moisture somewhat. Just a random day. Wild horses walking by. This is what a deck removal shit show looks like. And let's see. It's pretty much all the way around now. We're just tearing out the pieces right here. This is the piece that all along the coach, it there's not this existing non-skid. This is a flat surface, so the glue really sticks to it. We still got this kink plank to take care of. I got to remove this piece right here. It's not being used for anything. I think this was for the old hanked on jib, and then the windlass has to come off. The anchor slide, the bow roller has to come off. And once that's all done, they're gonna sand it, clean it up, and then start running new non-skid. Actually, first they gotta lay a layer of fiberglass to cover up these holes, and then non-skid, and then everything else is gonna get sanded down, taped up. So it's a pretty big process. I gotta rebed some of the hardware that is being removed. My staysail track on both sides, port and starboard. Which is this unit right here. That's got to come off. I got new hardware for it, and you got new anchors for it, new screws. Gotta remove it from down below. Diesel filler ports have to come out. That one is an old one. I got a new one, and they're gonna have to get rebedded lower because now that the Teak is removed, they're sitting about a 1/4 inch high. Laying down fiberglass for the next step. Getting closer. Oh, beautiful. Last time I left the boat, I took the dinette with me. I took it back to California, and I stripped it down all the way to raw wood. Took all of the side pieces off. These are called fiddles, and decided to modify them and inlay this beautiful zebra wood on these two corners. That way things don't roll off. The new laminate is called sea glass, and it matches the upholstery very well. Got this new logo. I think this turned out really, really nicely. Baby, you give me midnight. Plan right now is to try to find a few bolts, fasteners for my rudder. Walking over. Oh, I'm driving over. Oh, wait a minute. Where's my car? Oh, shit, I passed it. Absolutely spectacular day today. It's supposed to be in the 80s this weekend, which is definitely a welcome weather change. It's been a little chillier than I'm not used to, but what I'm hoping for in Mexico. So Star Marine is the tienda for the marina here. They own the marina and they have a little marine store, but it's not what you would expect. Normally it's just, I mean, it's nicely equipped, but some of the things that electrical things and wire, especially the larger size wire, lug nuts, 4/0 terminal lugs, it's a little harder to get. So I ended up having them shipped from Canada. That's not the cheapest way to do it, but it was still cheaper than actually buying it at... Oh, there's a boat out in the bay. Still cheaper than buying it through West Marine, which is not to say much. Those people are absolutely retail plus, but in a pinch, that's where you want to go. Here's what we're after. Normally this wouldn't be an issue in the States, but we are in Mexico, so things are a little harder to come by. The tienda is just down, I should say up from the marina. It's about 1/8 of a mile drive from Marina Seca, which is the dry marina, which is where the boats are on the hard. If you're not familiar with San Carlos, there's also a nice restaurant here. It's called Hammerheads. Fun spot to hang out if you're looking for live entertainment. I think they got something going on every night, especially Saturdays and Sundays. On Saturdays, the dudes are playing. An amazing band. They play all covers. But here is Star Marine. And again, if you can get your parts in the States, do so, because you will pay a premium. Yeah, that's boat life. Up and down the ladder, 12 feet. Friday night in the boatyard. Quite peaceful. My light went out, my dome light went out in my bimini, so it's a little dark, but it's nice and cozy inside. That's where I'm sleeping right now, as the aft cabin is getting worked on. Yep, let's see. Ooh, it's nice and warm. Got the heater going. Gonna watch a movie. And getting ready tomorrow to go to Guaymas again, to go see Luis about fabricating my staysail rails, because the existing ones have completely corroded. This is my new forward scan sonar, which when I start the installation tomorrow, I got to do some fiberglass work. I gotta modify this, cut it, find the right angle, dead rise angle, and so it's basically perpendicular to the, parallel to the water, so to say. Anyway, I'll film all this as time goes on. But right now it's time for dinner. Got this new coffee the other day, yesterday at Walmart. I've been drinking a lot of coffee lately. This is from Oaxaca. The last one I bought was good, but it's a little light for me. I like the more of a bold taste. Pretty can. I'm gonna save this for probably other things that I'm gonna keep in it, just for the sake of that. But it's good. It's a nice maybe afternoon drink. Morning coffee requires a little bit more octane, and the flavor is 5. So we are going to be the judge of that this morning. Waiting for the net to start. Every morning at 8 o'clock there is a sailor's net.
Good morning and welcome to the San Carlos Cruisers Net. This is Vanessa on Monday Shaw. Before we proceed with our usual net, I want to give a quick update on Windswept 2.
That's the boat.
After the update and after the net, any further conversation will be moved to channel 69.
That's the boat that they got grounded the other day, last week.
At 2 a.m. this morning, Sugete and Mai Tai Roa left with extra crew, gear, and provisions to assist David on Windswept 2. A couple hours out, Mai Tai Roa turned back due to mechanical issues. At 6:28 this morning, Monday's off received confirmation from Sugete that they were 3 miles from Windswept 2, had a visual on him, and were in VHF contact with David. Immediate towing assistance has been requested by Sugete in order to pull Windswept the final small distance to deeper water, and then to tow Windswept 2 into the Bahia San Carlos. As a reminder, Windswept 2 does not have a rudder at this time. Their prop is inoperable. They have no further damage that they have found. They are not taking on water, and he has pitched himself over 300 feet the past few nights.
Wow. This is how we dispose of the coffee. We come over here and we swirl it around and we just go. The nice part about living on the boat, whether on the yard or on the water, is this. That's the view in the morning. We're heading to Guaymas, 20 minutes away or so. Round 2. We were just there yesterday to go see Senor Hernandez. This is the back road to Guaymas. It's the scenic route. It takes maybe a few minutes longer, but it's so much prettier. It's just a 2-lane road that runs along this estuary. And after these hills, it's all ocean view. Super spectacular. And today's gonna be almost 80 degrees. Super excited about that. Excuse me, we just drove past a military checkpoint here in Guaymas. It was the Marines. A little intimidating for, I guess, somebody who first experiences it, that type of a approach. You know, full battle gear, I guess. Goggles, masks, rifles, camo, helmets. I mean, they're decked out. They look like they're about to storm something. And but you know, it's just people. They're here to do a job. You wave at them, they wave back at you. There's nothing intimidating to that effect. You know, they're not here to intimidate people. There is a little bit of, I wouldn't even say unrest, but there's a little bit of tension in the government, you know, between the different factions. But it's not anything that's spilling out on the streets. It's between the factions. And police presence, just like in the United States, is important to not only give the residents a feeling of security, you know, whether that's just more of a false feeling or whether it's real. It's real for me. I feel comfortable. You know, I wouldn't go to Guaymas at night by myself or even with friends and just walk down the streets. It's just not something, just like I wouldn't do it in Detroit. You know, I wouldn't do it in Detroit. I wouldn't do it in Chicago. I probably wouldn't even do it in Fresno in some parts of town. So that's where I'm from. You know, it's just, you got to use your head about where you belong and what the area has become, and just respect that. So when you drive around San Carlos, if you do come to San Carlos, especially if you go to Guaymas, you know, pay attention, you know, make sure that you're respectful. And you know, if you like to tie one on and you know that your personality tends to be more on the rambunctious side after having a couple of pops, probably not a good place to be here, because you never know who you're going to run into. You know, it may not happen that night, but it may happen. This is kind of still the wild South, you know. But on the other hand, you know, the other side of the coin is I feel safer here than most places in the world. So there it is. There's my 2 tidbits. This is uptown Guaymas. Here you'll find your basic fast food places if you're into that type of stuff. McDonald's, Burger King, KFC. I think there's a couple of pizza places like Domino's, Papa John's. Then you'll have your supermarkets, gas stations, car dealerships. Then as you drive down the boulevard here, you'll start getting into the industrial part, closer towards the marina, the big port. This is a commercial port, and that's where you'll find your industry for many of the things that you're going to need for your boat. And again, a lot of things, some of the specialized items that I'm looking for are tough to find off the shelf, so they'll have to get fabricated. But for the most part, you know, that's part of the adventure. I mean, what would adventure be if everything was readily available, if you just went in and bought it? I mean, it'd be kind of mundane and boring. That's not what traveling's about, right? Yes, it does get frustrating. It does get, sometimes the frustration may get the best of you for many different reasons, but as long as you keep your head clear and realize why you do the things that you do. I don't need to be here. You know, I can be back at home and have the convenience of everyday life, but that's just not the way I'm wired. I love this type of stuff. The smells, the sounds, even the traffic at times feeds my soul to know that I'm back to somewhat basics. Right here, Isla Maizas, right there is one of the 2 marine stores. That store belongs to the Guaymas Marina, and the Star Marine, previously in the video, belongs to Marina Seca. Here you'll take a left, you'll keep going to the left as the road splits again. You don't want to take it to the right, you'll go downtown and towards the marina. You'll have a Pemex on the right, and the landmark that you want to be looking for is coming up. It's a Coca-Cola distributor, and a lot of people refer to that as a landmark for finding things around this area. Right next to the Coca-Cola area, there's Distribuidora 66, which is a 66. That is a very good ferreteria, very good hardware store for a lot of things that are specialty. And that's right here. It's the orange building coming up. They have a big warehouse across the street. Distribuidora 66. And a little bit further up the road, about another few hundred meters, is a Flecha gas station. You want to pay attention to that. Once you get to the Flecha gas station, you'll be making an immediate left. It's directly the street just past the Flecha. And you'll be actually going into a neighborhood, into a little barrio. Right here, Flecha gas station. Remember, when you need gas in Mexico, they pump it for you. Don't try to pump it yourself. Boom. We'll make a left in front of this car. And then it's the first right. And boom, we're gonna park right here. There's not a lot of parking. So we're gonna park right here and we're going to walk up to Senor Hernandez's building. I'll try to practice my Spanish. We'll see how it goes. Señor Hernández. Hola, soy Pablo. Nosotros hablamos ayer. Sí, buenos días. Ok, gracias.